Well, welcome back, and I am so excited for this panel today. I have two amazing women of YouTube. Sean already alluded a little bit of their story, but today we're going to be actually talking about the 7 things they learned from reaching 100,000 subscribers. Let me know in the chat, do you want to reach 100,000 subscribers? Is that one of your goals that you would like to do? Well, let's jump into this session. And first off, I have Lauren Bateman. Let me tell you a little bit about her. As a childhood cancer survivor, Lauren Bateman knows the importance of living in the moment. That's why at the age of 27, Lauren quit her cushy job as a research scientist to pursue a career in music. When Lauren was 16, her very own mother told her sister not to buy Lauren a guitar because she would waste it. Lauren decided she was going to teach herself how to play guitar on her own. In 2010, Lauren decided to give a shot at entrepreneurship and started teaching voice and guitar lessons out of a spare bedroom in her small apartment near Boston, Massachusetts. She had absolutely zero teaching experience, but knew what she needed to do to make it work. Her popularity as a guitar teacher grew locally until her schedule was bursting at the seams. Man, if you are a content creator who's helping people, you might feel that right now. Lauren now operates 2 music schools outside of the Boston area in the hopes of helping students of all ages discover the joy and happiness of music. So Lauren, I'm so excited that you're here today. How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh. I always love seeing your setup because you always have these little hidden gems behind you.
It's my personality corner. That's what I call it.
So much fun. And Lauren, thank you so much for being here at Growth Video Live and interacting in the app. So many people were like, Lauren's here. So fun that you're actually a part of the conference this year. And I can't wait to get into some more of your journey. Now, let me introduce Nicole. Nicole, I also consider an amazing friend. Nicole is a parenting and soul-aligning mentor who helps women build a legacy for themselves and their families by showing them what is possible when they no longer have to choose between the two. She's helped millions of women in their parenting journey and continues to redefine what it means to be a conscious mom and a powerhouse. Nicole, how you doing?
Hey, Heather. So happy to be here. I'm doing great. Thank you.
My goodness. I'm so excited that you're here, and your set looks amazing also. Not how you started though, right, Nicole?
Not at all. This is years in the making. Years in the making.
So awesome. Well, hey, let's jump right into to today's session. And I actually asked them to submit ahead of time things that they have learned. I've distilled them down into 7. And then, of course, I have 2 bonus ones for you because they had such great tips for you. But Nicole, you said one of the lessons that you learned was that the more real you are, the deeper the impact. I talked a little bit about this on stage on the last session, but I'd love to go deeper into that, Nicole. What does that actually mean to you and kind of your journey on YouTube with that?
Yeah. For me personally, it's of course been the journey of feeling safe to really be my most authentic self. And it's taken years to get to that point. But what the lesson was in showing up as the most authentic version of me is that I build the most beautiful relationships with people when I am secure and safe in just being all of me. So I find that the YouTube journey has been really about building these relationships. I call them soul scribers now, right? These are people who have watched some of my videos since I was pregnant with Kai, or Kai was a newborn, and Kai is now 5.5 years old. And these people and these relationships follow you well beyond YouTube. They follow you on other platforms and outside of YouTube. And so it's just been this beautiful evolution of relationship building. And that really happens. Those deep connections happen when you are your most authentic self.
Yeah. And Lauren, did you experience this at all? Because you come from a non-traditional background when it comes to music, right? It wasn't like something you went to school for. You actually didn't go to school for this at all. You're really self-taught. Have you experienced that the more real you are, the more you show up as just you and teach the things you love to teach, that you've seen explosive growth from that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for me, the biggest thing, like when you watch some of my first videos, you can see like I'm really awkward and, I'm like stumbling over my words, or I'm saying the wrong words at the wrong time. And I think in the beginning, we're so focused on like what we should be or what we think we should be, and we focus on what other people are doing, that we forget what we're trying to do. And, once you get into those videos, 10, 20, 30 videos deep, more of you and your personality comes out. And that's what people want. That's what people want to connect with, is the true you, not the version of you that you think you should be.
I love that so much, Lauren. And man, I feel like this is like the explanation point to the talk that I just gave. So I love that you both have experienced that as well. Now, one of the points Lauren submitted was that good content will always trump the video quality. Lauren, talk about your journey in creating content over the years and how you've really seen this be true.
Yeah, so my first videos were just done with the phone. I didn't have a fancy camera. I didn't have the fancy lighting. I was doing a lot of things just based off of like what I knew about filming, which was absolutely zero. So I was like, well, I'll just get a little tripod. Actually, I didn't even have a tripod. I was like putting my phone on a music stand, and it was like I was shooting from below and weird angles. All the stuff they told you not to do yesterday, that's what I did when I started off. But, one of my first videos that I recorded, I think it was June 2017, 2 years later, a little over 2 years later, October 2019, that video was the first video that got ranked in YouTube. And it's funny because if you go back and look at it, it's like this grainy video, it's dark, but people loved the content that I was delivering. So it just goes to show you in that video, Sean talks about videos he recorded 10 years ago still getting views. That video still gets me views and subscribers, 4 years later. And it's just a really dark, grainy video, but the content is amazing, and that's what people connected with. So just like you were saying, press record. Don't sweat the small stuff. Just press record.
Yeah, and Nicole, you've experienced this as well. Some of your most viral videos were literally you just shooting on, location basically, or shooting just your baby doing certain activities. Talk about this for you. It really is the content over the video quality of what you're producing.
Oh yeah. I mean, basic camera, the window light, it was enough, and my audio was kind of shoddy. B-roll was interesting. And I'll even say, just to add to this point, it happens even later. So I moved, I have a new home, and it took me a while to figure out the lighting situation in here. And if you even go back and look a couple months back in my video, like recent, you'll be like, that lighting isn't quite right, but I didn't let it stop me. I kept filming, and I was like, let me figure out the equipment in this new space as I go. So it's always a journey.
Ooh, that's a really good one too, because you're right. I mean, when you move different seasons of life, you're in a new location. Maybe you're normally filming in the daytime, but now you have to film at nighttime. All of those pieces come into effect, but the video quality out trumps the actual production quality of what you are doing. This one was great too. Lauren says, learn how to do real research for videos and content. And that actually is very important to getting to 100,000 subscribers. Talk about this, Lauren, and how you've discovered some videos that more people wouldn't think would be the ones that would actually become the famous videos or the viral videos.
Yeah, so, when I first started, obviously I'm just recording and I'm like, well, I should do a video on this, or I think I should do a video on this, and based on like who my audience was. And then I realized like you can actually do research, and there's SEO and all the stuff that goes behind it. And then I was like, okay, some of the things they were talking about yesterday. Well, what are my competitors doing? What videos are they making that are successful? So I decided, hey, I'm going to research some of these videos, and I'm going to do those same exact videos, but I'm going to do it in my way, in my teaching style, and I'm going to put my own spin on it. And when I started really getting a little bit more purposeful with the content that I was making, I noticed that that was starting to drive views, that was starting to drive subscribers, because I was taking content that I knew would be popular and would be good for my audience, and I was putting it in my voice, in my story, and I was sharing that with my audience, and it was resonating with them, because obviously, on my other competitors' channels who had success, it was resonating with their audience. And so I started making those videos and pushing out and just really paying attention to the YouTube analytics, being like, this video did good. Why did this do good? Let me do more of that. this video didn't do good. Why not? Let me not do that. So I really started paying attention to what YouTube was telling me to do versus not do, and that made a huge difference in my channel.
Yeah, and Nicole, you've experienced this as well. How much research are you doing in the types of videos? Because your videos are so specific to the woman you are trying to reach.
That's a really good question. So we do still do a lot of research around the video topics, and it has become more niche over time. So, you know, I talk about really like living my life and picking topics that are aligned with what I'm going through in this stage, and then researching and saying, where can I like hone in and where is there a space for me? But I want to touch on this because it's something you taught me in Inner Circle. And that was sometimes the video topic ideas that are going to like blast you off into the next level are the ones that are super simple and you're not even thinking about because it's right in front of your face. So like how to burp your baby was one that I thought like everybody knows how to burp their baby, but you're like, no, this is so basic. And people are actually, we did the research, created that video, and it's one of my most popular videos. So sometimes we're too close to it, and it's really helpful to have community say, actually, this is a good one. Roll with it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I remember that time too. You're like, doesn't everyone know? I'm like, no. I remember when I had a baby, I was like trying to figure out, what do you do? How do you do this? And it was all the things. So I'm so excited that, yeah, research is such a huge part of how you do this entire process rather than just willy-nilly making videos that you think you should be making. Now, this was really too, Nicole, you said, if you want to make YouTube sustainable, make content for you first and then your audience. Break that down because I'm sure people probably feel that like, well, of course I'm going to make content that I want to make. But over time, people start asking for certain things that could be outside of the wheelhouse of what you are actually committed to. So talk about this a little bit and how that has helped you get to 100,000.
So very true. So yeah, you know, a lot of times we hit, you know, maybe semi-viral videos or, you know, things that start to take off and we are like, okay, let's continue down this train. But what I've found is that there are chapters and phases in my life. So as my kids have grown, I wouldn't always be making videos about tummy time, although I did do a series, you know, and it's like, okay, my kiddos are in a different stage. Let's research and see what could work in the phase we're in now, because that's what we're living, we're playing, we're doing different activities. So it aligns with my life. It's what I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Where can I capitalize on YouTube in the space I'm at and the chapter I'm in my actual life, as opposed to trying to be in a space that worked at one point, but isn't necessarily aligned with how I'm living in this moment.
Yeah, and Lauren, you've actually implemented this as well on your channel, even with the demographic, the psychographic of who's even watching your videos. So talk a little bit about how it really is about making sustainable content that you want to make, not necessarily everything your audience wants.
Yeah, I mean, in the beginning, you know, because I had a background in teaching guitar, I said, you know, when I started my channel, I was like, I know I want to teach guitar, and who do I want to teach? I want to teach the people that I actually like teaching. So I thought about my own personal experience as a guitar teacher, and I said, you know what, the favorite people who I used to teach that it was like I was surprised they were paying me money to teach them because it was so much fun, said it was always people over the age of 50, all my older students, and I absolutely loved it. So I said, you know what, I'm just going to focus my channel on older students, and of course, obviously, I'm going to attract other people who are younger, but all the music that I was doing, it's the music I like too. I actually really like, you know, the Led Zeppelin, the Neil Young, and all the older stuff, the Beatles. I got my Beatles, my George Harrison guitar back here. But that was the music I really loved doing, and that's what I was passionate about. And I think that's why I got along with that generation. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to focus a lot of like my really specific song content on this audience, and I'm going to go wider on some of the broader topics like strumming, how to hold a guitar, like all those basic things. But my focus was really on that older demographic, the music they love, but also the music I love, because then it makes it more enjoyable for me too.
And I love that you both said it really is about the seasons. Like it's about the people you want to reach, but also you have to have a passion for the things you're creating. We're not just monkeys on a wheel, you know, we really want to be making good monkeys on a wheel. Okay, we'll go with it. We want to make good content, but we also want to love the content that we're making. Now, both of you are incredibly focused women. Both of you have careers around your YouTube channels. You're not just making YouTube content. Both of you are running these other businesses around what you're doing. And Lauren's point was to stay consistent, create a schedule. And I'm like, speaking to me, I love that. So Lauren, how important is it to you to stay consistent and doing that by keeping a schedule?
Yeah, I think my biggest downfall in the beginning is that I wasn't consistent. You know, I went back and I looked, and I was definitely not posting consistently at all, like the first couple of years that I was on YouTube, because I had other stuff. You know, I had a business, you know, you have family life and all these other things. And then once I got consistent about my schedule as to, I do a lot of batch recording. So I'm like, okay, I got to film, because I do 2 videos every week. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to film over the next couple of days all my content for like the next month, and then we go into the editing process. So for me, it was really important to schedule in time to say, hey, this is when I'm gonna sit down, this is when I'm gonna do my content. And obviously before that point, I had researched and printed out and done all of my organization work for how I'm going to film these, what songs I'm gonna do, what lessons I'm gonna do, and then obviously there's the day for the production and the recording, and then after that, it's the editing, because I found when I was trying to do like 1 video a week, I always felt like that, like the monkey on the wheel, as you say. You know, I always felt like I was chasing that next video, and it was very stressful for me. So I decreased that stress by saying, you know what, I'm just going to try and record all my videos in 1 day, and then I'm going to edit them out. And that helped just relieve a lot of stress for me. And if something came up in life, that was okay, because like I already had recorded all the content. I just needed to edit it. And that helps so much. So if you don't have a schedule yet, just pick 1 day a week that you're going to commit to your channel, and it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and Nicole, I'm sure so many people can relate to, you know, just your seasons of life. I don't think anyone comes to YouTube and says, you know what, I have nothing to do, I should start a YouTube channel. No, they're coming to YouTube and they're like, I'm already an entrepreneur, I'm already, you know, running a family, I'm, you know, doing all the things. And I also want to do YouTube. That was where you came in, and I also want to do YouTube. So talk about, what does your schedule look like now in creating your content? How important is it to have a schedule around what you're creating?
That's a really good question. So I'm slightly different. I will say I started with a schedule, and it was really important to me to get into a groove initially. But being a mama to 2 young ones, my youngest one is 10 months now, and having a husband who's also an entrepreneur, there's a lot of give and take and flexibility. And so sticking to a specific schedule has been a bit challenging, but I'm 5 years in now, and I just know that I'm committed. And if you go back and you look at my YouTube channel, I'm still consistent. I still get the content out. So I trust myself that if it means I got to film at 10 o'clock at night or on a day I wasn't planning, like I will get it done. But it was important to have structure around me in the beginning to get into that routine and have it be muscle memory before I could say, all right, we're in a season where we need more flexibility. You can be adaptable. And I know that you're just committed to this mission. You're going to figure it out.
Ooh, that's really good too. Yeah, it changes as you get more comfortable in front of the camera, as you get more comfortable, and like you said, just being committed to making the content. I will get this done. I will figure this out. So number 7 is, Nicole, you said there will be sharp ups and sharp downs in this journey. I think people need to hear that. I think that, you know, especially when you're at a conference like this and you're seeing some amazing, successful women like you two, it's like, dang, how did they get there? It must have been just luck, right? It's all just luck. So talk about those sharp ups and those sharp downs on the journey, Nicole.
Yeah, this has been huge for me because it's so easy to get stuck in the very moment, or like that 30-day stats, right? Where it's like, oh, things look down, you know, your subscriber count's down, your views are down. And especially in the beginning, it's easy to become discouraged with that and think like, okay, well, nothing I'm doing is working. Should I just call it? Like, this clearly isn't working out for me. And I had a moment about a year ago where I was going through that. It was like month after month, I couldn't figure out how to get things back on track. I just seemed to be in this slide. And then I did myself a favor and I clicked lifetime on our stats, right? Where it breaks down like your stats over your entire lifetime. And at that time, it had been about 4 years on YouTube. And it was this beautiful moment, this epiphany of like, it is up and down on the way up. When you pan out, you see that your trajectory is in fact heading in the right direction. You are moving, you are making gains. But if you zoom in, you will see this on your statistics. It looks up, it looks down. And in the moment when things are sliding, it just feels like everything is falling apart. But I want you to be able to pan out and look at the big vision. And if you're just starting, can you trust that this is a minor dip and an otherwise upward trend? So just staying committed to your mission and your vision and keep moving.
Yeah, wow, what a great insight to actually pan out and see the whole picture. We did that here at Think Media, you know, about a year, 2 years ago now. We were in a downward slump and we were like, man, what is happening? And then we pulled out the numbers and we're like, oh, actually, we're doing just fine. It's okay. This is kind of the cycle of life. There's spring, there's summer, there's winter, and there's fall. How about you, Lauren? Have you experienced kind of those big ups, those big downs in this journey, even just as an entrepreneur, building businesses and trying to build your YouTube channel at the same time?
Yeah, I think that's just the cycle of life. There's highs and there's lows. And I remember specifically after, you know, the first kind of COVID, after the shutdowns, you know, everyone was home. So everyone was watching YouTube. Everyone was all of a sudden trying to learn guitar. So, you know, everything was really up in, you know, March, April, May of 2020, I think, for a lot of YouTubers. And my AdSense was like really killing it at that point. And then I remember I posted in the VRA, you know, Facebook group, and I think it was August. It was this time of year because August is summer. This kind of like the slow time of year in general for like music lessons, even for a brick and mortar business. And I remember being really disappointed. I was like, man, I was doing so well, and now everyone's outside, and it's not going so great. And I remember being like really down on myself and being like, that was it. That was like my ride was right there. And then it was just the cycle. The fall came around and, you know, Christmas season, people get new guitars and stuff. And then all of a sudden everything shot back up again. So I think it's also understanding the cycle of your business. So I know as a music teacher, summer tends to be that downward slump anyway. So I should expect things to pick up, you know, as we get closer to Christmas, New Year's, etc.
Yeah. And man, that was so poignant what you said. As a business owner, as a YouTuber, you should just know that it's not always going to be up, that there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, because there's seasons to business. There's a reason that there is an entire Black Friday sale, crazy Christmas shopping, all of those things in actual retail stores, because they are anticipating that you're going to buy stuff for Christmas. Whereas in the summer, there's not as much. So it's really great insight, ladies. All right, we're going to get into some bonus points that you guys have. But if you like content like this, I just have to do a plug because we do interviews like this on our podcast. Make sure you're subscribed to the Think Media podcast because we bring on different industry experts and amazing students just like Lauren and just like Nicole, and we interview them and we go deeper into different topics like how are you getting brand deals and how are you making money with beyond your AdSense, or how are you fighting past the imposter syndrome as you are reaching these different milestones. We talk all about that on the Think Media podcast. So make sure that you subscribe to that. I hope that every single person that's at this conference at least subscribes to the podcast so that you can continue hearing conversations like this. Okay, let's see. Lauren had a great insight, which was interact with your audience and build community. How important has that been on your journey to 100,000, Lauren?
Yeah, I mean, it's so important, I think, to connect with people. And that's why, you know, I'm here in the conference, I'm here in the chat and talking with people because people want to get to know you. And, you know, reaching out, just responding to those comments. The biggest thing that I get from a lot of people, even people who go and buy my guitar course, they send me emails all the time like, I was so impressed that you respond to every single comment that or that I actually got a response from you on a comment, they said that really impressed me, and that's what actually made me go and purchase your product. So make sure to reach out, get those connections. You know, I have a private Facebook group, but I do have like a free Facebook group, and I'm in there, I'm talking to people, and you know, we're sharing stuff about guitar, but you know, when I went to Iceland in July, I'm sharing my journey, what I'm doing in life with people, and they're so excited to hear about that. They want to be a part of your life and get to know you. So don't be afraid to share other parts of yourself with your audience. It's going to make that connection stronger.
Yeah, Nicole, you've really experienced by being so in tune with your community, these amazing opportunities to be able to create other products for them, high-level products, masterminds, being able to go deeper in exactly what they want. Nicole has a product on how to feed your baby. I mean, you wouldn't know that, Nicole, unless you were really deep in your community. How has this experience allowed you, by being in community, how did you get those ahas to know, I need to create this for her next? How did you follow that journey?
Oh, I love that question. Yeah, it's, you know, it's a lot of what Lauren said, and just building relationship with people, you know, so inviting them into other spaces off of YouTube. So whether it's an email, I have people respond to emails that go out, and it's just been this journey of building relationships and understanding what other women, other mamas are walking through. And it's been huge for me in terms of like, what would benefit my community? What should I create next? And being in conversation with them, and also allowing myself to evolve, you know, the products and the things that I am offering as I evolve and as my community evolves too. So relationship building, responding to comments, inviting them into your world, being open to share more of who you are and the journey you're on has been ginormous in my path to building a business.
Yeah, and I want to just make it very clear, neither of you have like teams of 20 around you answering all your comments and sending your emails. Is that correct, Lauren? This is you one-on-one in your community, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, in the beginning, I have some help now because there's getting, but I'm still in there. Like, I'm still in there. All those personal technical questions, that's me. And, you know, a lot of times if people send me emails, it's me. It's still in the trenches a lot, only because I love hearing from the community because they tell me what they want. Lauren, can you do a video on this? And I'm like, you know what, that's actually a really good idea. And I did a video recently on a suggestion that someone had made, and it was like one of my top videos. So listen to your audience. That's the point of interaction, because I don't do a lot of research anymore because people just keep telling me what they want me to do my content on. So be in there, interact, listen.
That is amazing. And exactly the point I wanted to make was that I make it a point to make sure that I am still engaged with our community, because when you start losing touch, you'll see creators like this. They start to lose touch with their actual audience, and they start creating other content. And then they're like, why isn't it working? Because they have to be actively engaged, because this is the community you get to create. I mean, this is how I look at it. As you just heard my story, that I wanted to be a people pleaser. Now it's the complete opposite. Now I'm like, I only want to be around people that I like. Like, I only want to be in community with people that get what I'm doing and geek out about the things that I'm doing. And it's so much fun. And lastly, you know, Sean said it last night. I thought it was so great. And I want Nicole to end with this, but he said, you know, it's not like you can take the silver play button to the bank. I know that both of you have reached over 100,000 subscribers. You both have those silver play buttons in the background. You've reached this milestone on YouTube, but really you wake up the next day and you're still the same girl, right? But Nicole had such a great point, and I want to end on this one. She said, you will be better for this journey. Nicole, close us out by telling us a little bit about why that was something that helped you on your journey to 100,000.
Yeah, you know, it's like, it's beyond the numbers, it's beyond the views, it's beyond everything, that the accolades and the awards. It's like, who do you want to be on the other side of this? I've gained so much more intangible things, like the skill sets, my ability to communicate, my ability to connect with other women who are in motherhood and going through the same things that I am. I'm just a completely different woman than when I started 5 years ago. And I wouldn't trade the ups and the downs or this path to be here for anything. You know, it's like, I love the silver play button. I love what I've created, but ultimately this is the legacy of me being courageous, me trying new things, me following my soul and what lights me up, and having an impact. And so no matter what numbers you reach, what accolades you have, brand deals, sponsorships, it's all beautiful. It's all the cherry on top, but you can't lose by starting this. You will be better on the other side of this journey.
Wow. Thank you so much for that, Nicole. And I so feel that in exactly what you're creating and what Lauren's creating. I want to thank both of you just for being women who said yes, for stepping up, stepping out, grabbing the camera, pressing record, being leaders in your community, being so gracious with your time today to come on and share a little bit about your experience. I know both of you are very focused women, and so just giving your time to us today at this conference is a huge blessing. So thank you for being leaders. I'm so glad that we're connected. I love that we're friends also in real life because it brings me so much joy. So Lauren, where can they go if people want to find out more and follow your journey? Obviously, you're inside of Video Ranking Academy. Obviously, you're here at the conference, but if they want to connect with you, where can they go?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty active on Instagram at the Lauren Bateman, and my website is laurenbateman.com. That's my guitar teaching website, so you can always contact me through the contact form there.
Amazing. And Nicole, where can they go if they want to go deeper with you?
I am Nicole Amber on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. And my website is also nicoleamber.com.
Awesome. Well, hey, share your aha moment in the chat below. Give it up. Round of applause for Lauren and for Nicole. Thank you, ladies, for your time today.